Have you ever felt stuck in your own mind? Caught in a loop of endless questions, doubts, and fears? You think you're preparing for life, but all you're doing is draining it. Overthinking is not harmless. It's a silent destroyer. It sabotages your peace. It crushes your confidence. It kills your dreams. Today, I want to show you how overthinking is quietly ruining your life and how to break free. This video is divided into two powerful parts. First, we'll dive deep into understanding why we overthink, and then we'll explore exactly how to stop it. Stay until the very end, because the final point is the most revolutionary of all. A lesson drawn from the wisdom of the Stoics, the masters of clear thinking, peace, and resilience. If you're tired of being trapped in your head, this message is for you. Part 1, the illusion of control. One of the greatest traps of overthinking is the illusion of control. We tell ourselves, if I just think hard enough, if I analyze every possible scenario, I can avoid pain. I can avoid mistakes. I can guarantee success. It feels safe, doesn't it? Like if we can just run through every possibility, we'll outsmart life itself. But here's the cold, hard truth. Thinking isn't the problem, overthinking is. Thoughtfulness is important. Reflection is necessary. But when thinking spirals into endless loops of what-ifs and maybes, it becomes a prison. It stops being helpful and starts being harmful. The more you try to control the uncontrollable, the more powerless you actually feel. It's a paradox. The harder you cling, the more you realize how little you truly hold. You're not gaining power. You're handing it away, to fear, to doubt, to imaginary threats that might not even exist. Every extra thought about something you cannot change tightens the chains around your own mind. The Stoics, the ancient masters of mental clarity, understood this better than anyone. Epictetus famously said, "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." This simple truth is everything. When you forget it, when you start believing that you can control things beyond your influence, your mind becomes your own worst enemy. You get trapped. You believe you can control how others think of you. You believe you can predict the twists and turns of fate. You believe you can anticipate every setback, dodge every failure, and prevent every ounce of suffering if you just think hard enough. But life doesn't work that way. When you cling to the illusion of control, you're fighting an invisible battle you can never win. You're exhausting yourself trying to steer the wind instead of adjusting your sails. What's the solution? It's radical acceptance. It's internal clarity. It's remembering what the Stoics taught. Focus only on what's within your control. Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your attitude. The outcome? That's in God's hands, not yours. You're responsible for how you show up, not how everything unfolds. You are the master of your effort, not the controller of results. Once you accept this, a strange thing happens. Peace returns. You no longer feel the need to grip life so tightly. You no longer panic over every twist in the road. You flow. You move wisely. You act with calmness and trust. Overthinking loses its power when you realize you were never meant to control everything, only yourself. In a world full of uncertainty, that truth is your anchor. Hold on to it. Part 2. Why we overthink. Why do we get stuck in these exhausting, endless thought loops? It always comes back to fear. Fear of loss. Fear of failure. Fear of regret. Fear of the unknown. Fear is the fuel of overthinking. It's what keeps the mental gears turning long after they should have stopped. You believe that if you can just predict every possible outcome, if you can map out every move and counter-move, you can protect yourself. You can shield yourself from pain. You can avoid all mistakes, all embarrassment, all regret. But here's the reality. Life doesn't play by your plans. No amount of thinking, no matter how deep or brilliant, can completely shield you from the unpredictable nature of reality. No mental rehearsal can eliminate risk. No overanalyzing can erase uncertainty. Overthinking gives you the illusion that you're doing something useful, but in truth, you're just sitting still. It's like being stuck in a rocking chair. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. All the energy spent imagining worst-case scenarios and running endless simulations in your head isn't preparing you for life. It's paralyzing you. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, understood this centuries ago. He said, "Today I escaped anxiety. Or no, I discarded it because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside." What a powerful realization. Your suffering is not coming from the world. It's not the events. It's not the people. It's not the circumstances. Your suffering is born from how you interpret those things. It's your own mind, your own perceptions, that create the storms you're trying so desperately to think your way out of. And here's something even more humbling. Most of the things you fear will never even happen. How many hours, how many days have you wasted worrying about things that never came true? How many opportunities have you missed because you were too busy predicting disaster instead of embracing possibility? The Stoics didn't teach us to eliminate fear by thinking more. They taught us to see it clearly for what it is, an illusion built by our own minds. And when you recognize that your fear isn't coming from outside, but from within, you realize something powerful. You have a choice. You can choose how you interpret the world. You can choose to loosen your grip on the need for certainty. You can choose to act bravely, even when you don't know what will happen. Life was never meant to be perfectly safe. It was meant to be lived, with courage, with presence, and with trust in God's plan. When you accept that, overthinking loses its grip. Your mind clears, your spirit strengthens, and you finally begin to move forward, not with endless calculations, but with steady, grounded faith. Part 3. The real cost of overthinking. Let's be brutally honest. Overthinking isn't just a minor annoyance. It's dangerous. It's not something harmless that you can just snap out of when you feel like it. It's a thief, and it's stealing from you every single day. First, it steals your time. You waste countless hours stuck in your head, thinking, planning, worrying, revisiting conversations, imagining disasters. Precious moments of your life, moments you will never get back, are spent lost in mental loops instead of actually living. You're not experiencing life. You're trapped inside a maze of your own creation. Second, it drains your energy. You find yourself exhausted, not because life itself is too demanding, but because of the endless battles happening inside your own mind. Every what if you entertain, every scenario you play out, every fear you analyze to death, it all chips away at your vitality. You wake up tired not because of what you've done, but because of what you've thought. Third, it destroys your confidence. The more you analyze, the less you act. The less you act, the more you doubt yourself. It becomes a vicious cycle. Thinking leads to paralysis. Paralysis leads to self-doubt. Self-doubt leads to more thinking. You start second-guessing not just decisions, but your very identity. You no longer trust yourself. And without self-trust, how can you expect to move forward boldly in life? And perhaps worst of all, overthinking drowns out the voice of God within you. The Stoics believed in listening deeply to the rational, divine part of the soul, the spark of wisdom placed within us by God. But how can you hear that voice if your mind is screaming with noise? When your mind is loud with fear, with endless analysis, with doubt and confusion, your spirit becomes silent. You lose touch with that deep inner guidance that tells you, calmly and clearly, the right path to take. Think about it. How many times has clarity come to you when you finally let go of the thinking and simply trusted? How many times has peace arrived not through figuring everything out, but through surrendering to something greater than yourself? Overthinking robs you of all of this. It robs you of the simple joys. It robs you of faith. It robs you of presence, of clarity, of trust in yourself and in God's plan for your life. The true cost of overthinking isn't just missed opportunities or wasted time. The true cost is that you miss your life. You miss the connection to God that can only be felt in a quiet, trusting heart. Recognize this. Let it sink in. Because until you understand what overthinking is truly costing you, you won't have the fire needed to finally break free. Part 4. The turning point. How to stop overthinking. At some point, you have to face the harsh truth. The real battle you're fighting isn't out there in the world. It's inside your own mind. Overthinking tricks you into believing that by constantly running scenarios through your head, you're preparing for what's to come. It convinces you that more thinking will bring clarity, that if you just think long enough, you'll find the perfect answer, the perfect solution. But the truth is, overthinking rarely brings you clarity. In fact, it does the opposite. When you overthink, you're not gaining insight, you're getting lost in an endless loop of doubt, fear, and worst-case scenarios. The more you try to control what is beyond your reach, the more powerless you become. It feels like the harder you try, the less progress you make, and the more frustrated and anxious you become. It's an exhausting cycle, one that leaves you drained and uncertain about the decisions you need to make. But what if the real solution wasn't in thinking harder or figuring everything out ahead of time? What if the key to stopping overthinking was found in letting go of the need to control every outcome, and choosing not to overanalyze and predict everything before it happens? What if the answer was in learning to live in the present moment, accepting that you don't have to control everything, and that it's okay not to have all the answers right now? The turning point doesn't come in a grand, dramatic moment of revelation. It's more subtle, more internal. It's a quiet decision to stop fighting, to stop resisting the flow of life. You come to realize that, by trying to micromanage every detail of your existence, you're only creating more stress and tension. The truth is, life isn't a series of problems to be solved. Life is an experience to be lived, and overthinking robs you of the ability to truly live it. When you stop overthinking, you begin to break free from the cycle of doubt and fear. It's not that the worries disappear, but you no longer allow them to control you. Instead, you learn to trust. Trust that everything will unfold as it's meant to, even if you don't have all the details figured out. Trust that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way, even if it's uncomfortable or uncertain. Trust that, even in the midst of chaos, you can find peace. Trusting the process is a powerful shift. It's not about ignoring your responsibilities or pretending that things don't matter. It's about releasing the need to constantly predict and control every outcome. When you stop holding on to the illusion of control, you open yourself up to the possibility of something greater. You stop fighting against the current of life, and instead, you learn to move with it. The real turning point comes when you stop trying to control everything and simply allow yourself to be. When you step out of the prison of overthinking, you begin to experience the world as it is, not as you've imagined it in your head. You stop living in a constant state of anxiety and start living in the present moment. You begin to trust that you're exactly where you need to be, and that what's meant for you will find its way to you, in its own time and in its own way. The key is this: life doesn't need to be perfect, and you don't need to have everything figured out. The more you try to control the outcome, the more you suffocate your ability to grow and evolve. When you let go of that need, you create space for something greater than yourself to step in, whether it's faith, intuition, or even the quiet voice of God guiding you along the way. This is the point where everything shifts. When you stop overthinking, you stop living in the future or the past. You stop worrying about what could go wrong and start embracing the beauty of what is. You stop looking for answers outside yourself and begin trusting that the wisdom you need is already within you. The journey ahead might still be uncertain, but shift 1, trust God's plan, amor fati. A concept rooted in Stoicism and beautifully captured by a Latin phrase meaning love of fate, is a profound shift in mindset. It doesn't mean you must enjoy every single moment of your life, especially when things seem difficult or unclear. What it means is that you trust that everything that happens, whether it appears good, bad, or simply confusing, is part of a greater plan. Every situation, every challenge, and every twist and turn in life holds some value, even if you can't see it at first. In life, there are moments when things don't go as we expect. We face setbacks, we encounter obstacles, and we are sometimes left wondering why we had to go through what we did. It's natural to question why certain things happen, especially when we don't have an immediate answer. But amor fati reminds us that we don't need to understand the why of everything. Life isn't always something that can be explained in a way that satisfies our intellect. Some things, by their very nature, remain a mystery. Overthinking, in contrast, demands certainty. It craves answers, explanations, and assurances. It makes us feel as if we must control everything, even the outcomes that are beyond our grasp. The more we try to control things we cannot change, the more we lose our peace. But true peace doesn't come from understanding every detail or solving every problem. It comes from accepting that there will always be uncertainty in life. And instead of fighting it, we choose to trust in God's wisdom. As the Quran says, "And put your trust in God, and sufficient is God as a disposer of affairs." This is a reminder that, no matter how much we may try to control our circumstances, the ultimate plan lies with God. He is the one who orchestrates the events of our lives, even the parts that seem difficult or unnecessary. When we place our trust in Him, We surrender to a higher wisdom, one that sees the bigger picture, something we are not always able to comprehend in the moment. Amor Fati is about embracing life as it unfolds, not resisting or overanalyzing every aspect of it. It's about letting go of the illusion of control and accepting that sometimes the journey isn't about having all the answers, but simply about walking the path with faith. It is in the surrender of certainty that we find peace. Trusting God's plan means acknowledging that there is something greater than our own understanding at work. Even in confusion, we trust that there is meaning and purpose behind everything we experience. So when life doesn't go according to your plans, and when uncertainty creeps in, remember that it's okay not to have all the answers. Choose faith over fear. Choose trust over doubt. Remember that your job is not to force the outcome, but to walk the path that's laid before you, step by step, moment by moment. And in doing so, you'll find that life becomes less about controlling every detail and more about accepting what comes with grace, confidence, and peace. Shift 2. Practice present moment awareness. Overthinking is like a thief that robs us of the present moment. It traps us in the past, reliving mistakes, regrets, and missed opportunities. Or it drives us into the future, filled with fears, worries, and what-ifs. But the truth is, life only happens in the present. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. What we truly have is now. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, beautifully captured this concept when he said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." We often think that happiness lies somewhere in the future, after we've achieved something, acquired something, or made something right. We're constantly anticipating the next milestone, the next big moment, and we lose sight of the simple beauty of the present. Take a moment to ask yourself, what is wrong in this very moment? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, right now. If you truly pause and reflect, the answer will often be nothing. In this exact moment, you are breathing. You are alive. You have the gift of this very second, and with it, the power to choose your next step. That is all you really need to be at peace. Overthinking fills our minds with distractions, making us feel like we must fix everything at once, or that we must solve the unknowns of the future. But the reality is, we can't control what's already past, and we have no way of controlling the future. The only thing we can control is our response in the present. And that's where our true power lies. By focusing on the present, we disconnect from the overwhelming weight of our thoughts. We stop imagining worst-case scenarios and unnecessary regrets. Instead, we engage fully with the now, with the sensations of the moment, the choices we have right in front of us, and the actions we can take today. This is why the Stoics emphasized present moment awareness. They understood that peace doesn't come from predicting the future or trying to change the past. Peace is found in the present, where we make deliberate choices, where we take purposeful actions, and where we recognize that what we have right now is enough. When you're present, you realize that overthinking is a waste of the most precious thing you have, your time. Every second spent spiraling in thoughts about what might happen or what could have been is a second you'll never get back. And so, by choosing to be present, you reclaim your power. So, the next time you feel yourself slipping into the trap of overthinking, pause. Ask yourself, what is wrong in this moment? If the answer is nothing, then focus on what you can do right now. Take a deep breath. Take a small action. Choose peace. And in doing so, you'll find that overthinking has no power over you. Shift 3. Embrace voluntary discomfort. Overthinking often arises from our deep fear of discomfort. We constantly tell ourselves, if I can just prepare enough, if I can anticipate every possible outcome, I can avoid pain, disappointment, and failure. But here's a truth that many of us don't want to face. Life is a blend of both pain and joy, struggle and growth. They are inseparable, and no amount of planning can protect us from the inevitable. The Stoics understood this profound truth, which is why they practiced voluntary discomfort. They intentionally sought out discomfort to remind themselves that they could endure hardship and still thrive. Whether it was fasting, sleeping on hard beds, or walking barefoot in the cold, the Stoics deliberately chose discomfort as a way to condition their minds and bodies to handle adversity without fear. Now, you don't need to go to the extremes that the Stoics did, but the principle remains. By facing discomfort head-on, we break the chains of fear that hold us captive. Fear loses its grip the moment we face it. And paradoxically, when we stop avoiding discomfort, we often find that it is not as unbearable as we once thought. When we constantly avoid discomfort, we magnify our fears. We become prisoners of our own minds, trapped in a cycle of overthinking, desperately trying to predict and control every potential source of discomfort. But the more we avoid it, the more power we give to it. The more we anticipate pain, the more pain we create in our minds. On the other hand, when we embrace discomfort, we empower ourselves. It's like facing a bully who's been intimidating you for years. The first time you stand up to them, it's scary. But with each encounter, they lose their power over you. Similarly, when we face discomfort, whether it's a difficult conversation, a tough challenge, or an uncomfortable truth, we grow stronger. We develop resilience. We train our minds to handle whatever comes our way without falling into the trap of overthinking. And here's the key: avoiding discomfort multiplies suffering. The more we try to escape pain, the more anxious we become, because we're not learning how to deal with it. But when we confront discomfort, we realize we can survive it. In fact, we might even find that it was never as bad as we imagined. Think about it. What are you avoiding right now? What fear or discomfort are you trying to run away from? Is it the fear of failure, rejection, or judgment? Whatever it is, know this: you have the strength to face it. And by doing so, you'll free yourself from the grip of overthinking. By embracing voluntary discomfort, you teach yourself that you don't need to control every aspect of life. You don't need to avoid every challenge. Life will always present obstacles, but with each challenge you face, you become more capable, more grounded, and more at peace with uncertainty. So next time you feel the urge to avoid something difficult, remember, discomfort is not your enemy. It's your teacher. The more you embrace it, the less power overthinking will have over you. Shift 4. Live by inner standards, not outer praise. One of the most powerful drivers of overthinking is the constant concern about what others think. We spend so much time worrying about approval, validation, and recognition. We let the opinions of others shape our decisions, our actions, and even our self-worth. It's like a never-ending loop. You overthink what others might think, then you act according to what you believe will gain their approval, and the cycle continues. But the Stoics taught us to break this cycle by living according to our own principles, not public applause. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." This profound insight reveals just how much power we give to others' opinions, often at the expense of our own integrity and peace of mind. When we let external validation control our actions, we lose touch with who we really are. We begin to act based on what we think will make others happy, rather than what aligns with our deepest values. This is a trap that leads to endless overthinking. You second-guess every move, wondering, will this make me look good? Will people approve of me? But when you shift your focus from seeking validation to living by your inner standards, you break free from this prison of overthinking. The Stoics believed in aligning their actions with their values: honesty, courage, kindness, regardless of the applause or disapproval they might receive. When you live in alignment with your core beliefs, you no longer need external validation. Your actions are guided by a higher purpose, one that is rooted in truth and integrity. And here's the beautiful part. When you live by your inner standards, you become more confident. You no longer feel the need to seek approval from others, because you know your worth isn't dependent on their opinions. You trust yourself. You trust your values. And in that trust, you find peace. The world may praise you one day and criticize you the next. But when you live according to your own principles, you remain steady. You don't need the world's permission to feel good about who you are. You don't need to overthink every decision, wondering how others will perceive it. You make decisions based on your inner compass, knowing that living in truth is more important than living for applause. And ultimately, when you live in truth and walk with God, you find a deeper sense of purpose. You stop chasing external validation because you know that the approval that truly matters comes from within. You stop seeking permission from the world, and instead, you allow your actions to reflect your highest values. In the end, the Stoics knew that the only opinion that truly matters is the one you hold of yourself. When you align your life with your principles, you no longer need to overthink how you appear to others. You become a person who lives authentically, and with integrity. And that, in turn, brings peace and fulfillment. Shift 5. Focus only on what you can control. Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, captured this powerful concept with one simple line: make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. This is a core teaching of Stoicism, and it holds the key to stopping the cycle of overthinking. So what can you truly control in life? The answer is simple: your thoughts, your actions, and your character. These are the things that belong to you and are within your power to shape. Your thoughts are the foundation of your reality. The way you choose to interpret and respond to events is what defines your experience of them. Your actions determine the course of your life, not the circumstances you're in, but how you choose to act in those circumstances. And your character, the essence of who you are, is always within your control. It's the sum of your decisions, how you choose to live each day, and the values you hold dear. Now let's talk about the things you cannot control. You can't control the weather, how other people think or behave, or what the future holds. You can't control the opinions and judgments of others. You can't control the events that happen around you, no matter how much you wish you could. And yet, how much energy do we waste overthinking these very things? How often do we find ourselves anxious about the future or upset over things beyond our control? Here's the liberating truth. When you focus on what is within your control, you reclaim your power. You stop being a victim of every little thing that happens around you. You stop worrying about things that will unfold regardless of how much you think about them. And most importantly, you stop giving away your energy to things that don't deserve it. When you learn to focus only on what you can control, you become the master of your own soul. Overthinking about things you can't control, like the weather, other people's opinions, or the unpredictability of the future, is like trying to steer a ship in a storm by pulling on the wrong ropes. You waste energy and accomplish nothing. What you can control is how you respond to the storm. You control the direction of your own thoughts, the actions you take in each moment, and how you build your character. And this is where your true power lies. Instead of wasting energy on things beyond your reach, pour that energy into developing your inner strength, your resilience, and your peace of mind. God has blessed us with the gift of free will. This gift isn't meant to control the world around us, but to control ourselves. We have the ability to choose how we respond to life's challenges, how we navigate through struggles, and how we maintain our integrity through it all. When you focus on controlling what's in your power, your thoughts, your actions, and your character, you regain your strength. You stop feeling helpless, and you start living with intention and purpose. By mastering yourself and focusing only on what you can control, you free yourself from the trap of overthinking. You stop worrying about things that don't serve you, and you start channeling your energy into the only thing that truly matters: your own growth and peace of mind. I'll end with this: choose peace every day. You don't have to be a prisoner of your own mind. You don't have to remain trapped in the endless cycles of what-ifs and maybes. The fear, the doubt, and the uncertainty don't have to control you anymore. You have the power to break free. You can think less and live more. You can act with clarity, move with courage, and ultimately choose peace. Every day, you are presented with a choice. It's a simple choice, but one that can change the course of your life. You can choose fear, or you can choose faith. You can embrace the constant noise in your mind, or you can embrace the stillness of a peaceful soul. You can stay stuck in the endless cycle of overthinking, or you can choose to trust in God, take action, and let life unfold as it's meant to. The Stoics understood this profound truth, that peace is not something you wait for, it's something you choose. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca all found that the key to a peaceful life is not in controlling every outcome, but in controlling how we respond to life's challenges. They didn't allow themselves to be swept away by the currents of worry and fear. They anchored themselves in their faith, in their values, and in the knowledge that they had the power to choose how to face each moment. God has already given you the strength to face whatever life brings. You don't need to rely on external circumstances, approval, or outcomes to feel secure. The strength is within you. It's not something you need to chase or wait for. It's already there, inside your heart, inside your spirit. It's the divine power within you that keeps you grounded, no matter what comes your way. You are stronger than you think, and God's grace is always there to guide you through even the toughest of times. But you have to choose to tap into that strength. Every single day, you are given a choice. Will you let fear dominate your thoughts? Or will you choose faith and trust that God's plan is greater than anything you can control? Will you let the noise of overthinking drown out the stillness of your soul? Or will you quiet the mind and embrace the peace that is available to you? Every moment, you have an opportunity to decide. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to predict every outcome or avoid every risk. What you need to do is trust in God's plan. Trust that He has guided you to where you are for a reason, and trust that the path ahead is exactly what you need, even if it doesn't always make sense. Life is full of mysteries, and not everything will be clear right away. Trust that God is always leading you, even when you don't understand why things are happening the way they are. The Stoics knew that we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond. And by choosing peace, we free ourselves from the endless grip of overthinking. We let go of the need to constantly predict every outcome, and instead, we embrace the power of faith. Faith in God's plan. Faith in the process. Faith that everything is unfolding as it should, and that we are equipped to handle whatever comes our way. Now it's your move. The ball is in your court. Will you continue to let the noise of your mind dominate your life, or will you choose peace? Will you allow fear to hold you back, or will you take a leap of faith and move forward with courage, knowing that God is always with you? Life is too short to remain stuck in cycles of worry. You deserve to live a life of freedom, clarity, and purpose. And it starts with choosing peace. The power to live a life of peace, clarity, and purpose is within your grasp. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment to start. The perfect moment is now. Choose peace. Choose life. Because when you choose peace, everything else follows. The chaos, the noise, the overthinking, it all fades away. And in its place, you'll find the freedom, clarity, and joy that come from living in alignment with your true self, with your faith, and with God's plan for your life. Take that first step. Let go of the endless loops of thought. Trust in the process, and live your life fully, peacefully, and with purpose. Trust that God's timing is always perfect, and your steps are guided. Even when you don't have all the answers, trust that you are exactly where you need to be. Choose peace, choose God, and choose to live the life you were always meant to live.